about my brother, Mr. Peter Obi. You were direct on the mark that he won the election in 2023, but was denied. And you summarize what is playing out now. What I want to say is that the grace upon Peter Obi is huge. What God uses him to do cannot be explained by anybody, including myself, that is his brother for many years. You have seen what is happening. Any place he is mentioned, his name mentioned anywhere in Nigeria, there will be tumultuous noise of approval of who he is. So, yes, we are on the march again. What we need is simply prayers for him, because I know that God has something to do with him in this country. We, his brothers and sisters, will continue to remember him in prayers, so that in the name of the Kobo na Chineke na-edugharị ya nọ, ndị mmadụ na-anabata ebe niile, nke na-abịanụ ka ọ bụrụ mmasị ya. Aka ọbụla na-emebi emebi mgbe a nwere ekechie. Ọ bụrụ mmasị nke Chineke, nke a ga-emekọta ama dịka nke gara aga.
Before the 2023 general election in Nigeria, normally what happens is that after the elections, maybe within 1 month, 2 months, or just very few months, the whole election will fizzle away, the opposition will go away, and then they will reconvene in the next 4 years for another campaign and another election, and the cycle would go on like that. But all of that changed in 2023. Now, this is about 2 years into the swearing in of the Tinubu administration, and Peter Obi supporters are still there, reminding them that they didn't win the election. So you can imagine why they are so angry with Peter Obi, why they are sending all manner of people to talk about Peter Obi and to, always tweet and always write and talk about Peter Obi. Somebody like Reno Mokri is like he is the minister of Peter Obi, okay, by the current administration. So you can imagine that. So what happens is that these Peter Obi supporters keep reminding them that they didn't win the election. And this always makes them have legitimacy problem. And whenever you have a legitimacy problem, it is an issue that even abroad and all over the world, people seem to know that they didn't actually win the election. And it's a problem. So this is why you notice that they are so fixated on Peter Obi. You see them always talking about Peter Obi every now and then. It is because Peter Obi supporters, unlike previous ones, have stayed back. They keep reminding them that they didn't win the election. You can imagine this is the second year. And as the years go by, they keep increasing in their efforts to remind them that they didn't win the election. So this alone is enough for them to be fixated on Peter Obi, to always try to talk down on him and anything they can do to castigate him. It is because, unlike previous elections, his supporters have refused to give up. They have refused to just walk away. They keep reminding them that they didn't win the election. And then it begins to pose legitimacy problem for them. The second thing is that when they see that these his supporters are not relenting, they are actually afraid of what might happen in 2027. Unlike what people think that they have captured everywhere. No. If you look deep inside, they are actually afraid. I'm seeing Tinubu's posters in some places. That is a sign of fear. It is not a sign of strength. They are afraid because they don't know the angle Peter Obi supporters are going to come from. So they know that in 2027, if they do anyhow, they may not go scot-free as they did in 2023, because they are just afraid of what might happen if they try to do as they did in 2023. So these are the reasons why you notice that there is always seems to be always efforts to talk about Peter Obi, to talk down on Peter Obi. The latest effort they are trying to do is to make all the achievements look like nothing. If Peter Obi did this, they will turn it the other way around. And funny thing is that at the end of the day, you still see them going back to what Peter Obi said. When Peter Obi went to Egypt to learn about power, they mocked him. But what happened? Later, their own minister of power said that they needed to learn from Egypt. They were mocking Peter Obi that he didn't build school. But even their own minister of education has come out to say that the federal government should stop the issue of building schools, but need to fund already existing schools, because they know that Peter Obi is actually better and has more understanding of governance than they do. And they know that his supporters are not giving up. They keep reminding them of their illegitimacy, and they keep also mounting pressure for 2027. And that is why, as well-meaning Nigerians and other obedience, that we need to mount more pressure. We need to strategize more as we wait for the direction from Peter Obi on the way forward in 2027. Like they have also promised us that it will not be business as usual. I mean, from the Peter Obi camp, they have said that repeatedly, that they are not going to make the same mistake they made in 2023. And please,
so when you see people like me say when they wanted to give money to governors and say bailout, I was a governor, I should be supporting it. But I disagreed. I said no. Before we give them the money, let them tell us what they are doing, because it is wrong for us to pay a bill of a drunk while he's still in the bar. He has to come out of the bar first, and he will settle what he has drunk before. And that is where I disagree. There's nothing wrong in borrowing. Let me say it here. Just like we are talking about selling assets, there's nothing wrong in borrowing. But the question is, what are you borrowing for? In a recession, the only way to come out of recession is to do what? Spend for growth. And you can only spend for growth either from savings or from borrowing. And since we don't have savings, you've heard it, how our savings were squandered, whether it's excess crude or anything, by the governors. Everybody was right. The money is gone. But now, in order to spend, we need to borrow. And there's nothing wrong in borrowing. But the question is, what are you borrowing for? Are you borrowing for consumption? Or are you borrowing for production? The fear is that we are borrowing for consumption.